Are we? There we go. We're back. For you guys, it has been a week. For Igor and I, it has been 35 seconds or so, or like 3.5 minutes. Time is relative. The point is,
3.5 minutes.
We're back. We haven't aged a week. We're still here, and we're going to watch another piece of media featuring Masonry or allusions to Masonry. In this case, one of my favorite TV shows. I think one of your favorite TV shows too, right?
It's really good, yes. I recommend it to anyone. There's a lot of Canadian people in it, actually.
It was filmed in Vancouver, right?
I believe so.
So what is the TV show?
It's called Psych. This one is second season. We are going to be looking at episode 14. It's called Dislodged.
Which should, the second part of that anyways, the lodge part, should sound familiar to any Masons out there. So it is season 2, episode 14. Now last time this didn't go so well, but I'm gonna hit the X button. We're gonna see if this works. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Let's
go.
There we go. And we are starting off in 1980. How old were you in 1987, Igor?
I was 2.
I was 4. So
a lot of the earlier seasons of this, they have flashbacks. So this is when he's a child. His dad imparts some type of lesson.
They have a fire going right now.
Under like a blanket fort in the living room.
I don't think I'd be allowed to have a fire in a blanket fort in the living room.
It was 1987. Times were way different back then.
I was born in 83. I could have forts, but I don't recall being allowed fire. So he turned it off. He's a good dad. So they just talked about their clubs, their children's clubs, bylaws and regulations. The only bylaw regulation being no girls, which I think I had a similar club when I was younger. And it's actually probably for Masonic bylaw, no girls allowed. Though we do have Eastern Star.
There are female clubs that are affiliated.
And Christine, a lot of people who assist with like the learning center, the tutors, the weddings, Joyce. There are many, many girls / women running around this place.
And we couldn't do all this stuff without them, especially like support significant others. They're there from. These DVDs are from Flora. I borrowed them without permission.
So you stole them from your girlfriend?
She knows about it though.
Oh.
So, you want to talk about the scene?
So, Sean and Gus, the psychics, are eating lunch. They're supposed to, the main character, the guy called Sean, who's like the psychic or whatever, he was supposed to see his father for lunch. His father begged off, said he was sick, and they just saw him driving his car looking fine. So they're going to go follow him to see where he's going.
And he runs off making Gus pay.
That's a good Masonic tradition, making somebody else pay whoever leaves first. I've been to a few dinners where I've made Igor pay, and I'm quite proud of it.
Yes.
And now they are once again doing a funny handshake. I like how they always go, whenever they show a Masonic handshake in TV, they always go overboard with it.
We don't know this is Masonic in the first place. It's a lodge. Like you mentioned, Alpha Lodge, Moose Lodge. There's other fraternities that use the word lodge. This one leans towards Masonic Lodge, but so he's trying to go up there as security guard, trying to do the proper handshake to get himself in. And he's able to fake it enough to get in.
He's one of those observant fellas.
Yes. He saw it, mimicked it, got in. Gus tries to go in, gets stopped.
They've got so it's called the Monarch Lodge.
Yes. Pictures on the wall of previous, I'm not sure what they call them.
I think it's Masters or whatever it is.
I'm not sure what they call them this.
That's a pretty Masonic thing. We're here on the top floor of the Windsor Masonic Temple. We've got a lot of pictures of past officers. See if I can grab one to show you guys.
So they're just going around in the lodge, cruising, looking at pictures, and then Sean is surprised to see his dad's on the wall. picture looks like his dad from like the 70s. That's a very large collar. They burst into a different room with a bunch of people that are hooded in purple robes and cloaks. Within the crowd, he sees his dad, who is not dressed, but looks on the ground, and there's a person appears to be dead, and Sean is doing his like fake psychic thing.
Here we go. So here's some of the pictures you'll see in most Masonic lodges. This is actually a group photo of the Worshipful Masters of the Windsor District from 1990 1991. Up here. There you go. But we do have like individual ones too.
We are going through the intro right now. Right, you missed it, but when the gentleman who passed away was on the ground, he was wearing like a sash or something along those lines, and it had various symbols on it, and some looked like they could be Masonic-ish. There's a lot of things are borrowed and used in various religious and mysteries around the world.
This guy's got a flip phone. Takes me back.
That's a good point.
Do we have a date on this thing? I think it came out like 2004, 5.
This one is dated, the DV case is dated 2008. So I'm not sure if this came out then or this was made then. I don't know.
I think it sounds about right, season 2, because I think this was 2005, 6, something like that.
Sure, I'll go with that.
The point is he's got a flip phone. Reminds me of old times.
So some of the gentlemen here are wearing collars at this scene where Sean's talking to his dad. I think it's meant to show rank, and it gets into that a little bit later.
And we got the cops, Lassie, and what's their name, O'Hare?
Yes.
I always like all the characters. This is like one of those fun, lighthearted shows, you know? It's fun to just relax and watch, not too serious. I just got back into watching David Lynch, and it's very different. This is fun and relaxing.
I think they might make more, just like 30 Rock's doing special.
They keep making movies. They made 2 Psych movies, and
it's a good premise, and it lasts.
They had a whole bunch of shows like just lighthearted. Because this was on thing that was like Monk, Leverage, Burn Notice, all those like good people doing good things. So the whole family thing, this is a neat for me to watch because the episode deals with Sean, the main character, who's not a member of his dad's lodge or is not a member of any order, but his father is. And it's interesting just the parallels and the differences, especially how in the show, the episode, the dad kind of kept Masonry away from his son, or kept his lodge away from his son, didn't talk about it. Which is kind of similar to how my grandfather treated Masonry with my father. He never really talked about it. He knew he was going out, but he never really brought it up. But it's different than when I grew up, where I was very aware of lodge, even at a young age. We had Christmas parties, and I was at the lodge a lot growing up. So it's just interesting, the difference between how Sean's reacting to his dad being member of the lodge. And I always knew my dad was a Mason and always planned to join. I didn't know if I planned to join in Winnipeg, which I didn't, where he's a Mason. I joined here in Windsor, but family connections to Masonry are very interesting.
It did show symbols for a second on with that guy. Lassie just walked in with O'Hare, and he's giddy. This is what he wants to do or become, and so now that he sees Sean, he's kind of freaking out.
But it's interesting how, that's another interesting thing with it, is like, kind of Lassie in this case represents the guy who wants to join just because it's exclusive. You know, he doesn't seem to necessarily be concerned about like the ritual or anything like that, or being a better person. Not that he's a great character, but I think in this case he's more attracted to the lodge in this episode because it's exclusive, as opposed to any desire for like personal betterment. Which is there in Masons. Sometimes Masons will join because it's exclusive, and sometimes they'll actually stick around because they find something they didn't expect. Other times, though, not so much. They join for the exclusivity, and when they find it's not what they expected, they don't stick around. So joining just because it's exclusive is not the best I don't know what you think about that.
I have to agree. That's a very bad thing. We even ask people like, "What are your reasons for coming to Masonry?" We vet people slightly. Like we get to be sponsored in, and then people will we can talk to a couple of different guys just to double check that you're cool, or like not crazy. You don't have like any mental issues.
Well, you made it in fairness.
You don't know me back then.
That's just true.
Masonry made you like this.
I was even part of your community. I always get this mixed up. Okay, I joined 2007. You joined 2009, I think, right? Or you joined before me?
Well, after.
Yeah. So when did you join? Because I was joined October 2007.
I think my initiation was February 2012.
And look at that. And in just 8 years, you've been a master twice.
Maybe 2011. I think maybe not. I have to double check my certificate.
I can't remember my actual date. The day I joined, I just remember October 2007. So I'm 13 years in.
So Sean's getting talked to by his dad because his dad's trying to warn him to kind of stay away from this politics. So this is supposed to be like this isn't just a fraternity. This is like social connections, what some people think. When this is out there, when this kind of thing and people see it and they believe it, it's very misleading, and that leads to more people showing for the wrong reasons. Like Gus in this episode is meeting all the people just to sell his pharmaceuticals that he's actually a representative. He's not selling the drugs or anything, but he's doing it strictly for the money. He sees cash cows, he sees doctors, and he thinks he can make money off it. Last, he sees the exclusivity, just being part of something that not everyone can be part of. Well, Sean, he's just doing himself a case.
See, I think it's okay to. This is a debate, right? Like, I think it's okay to, if you join a Masonic lodge, and then business opportunities derive just as a consequence of it, that's one thing. But if you join specifically for that purpose, that's not so cool. Because you'll be disappointed because there won't be that much in terms of business opportunities to have, but it can happen where, if you know a brother, you're more like, it's just like anything, right? If you know a brother who's a plumber, like the Atkinsons, amazing plumbers, you're more likely to contact them if you require assistance with plumbing. But you shouldn't join for the specific reason of increasing business or social connections.
You will be disappointed if you leave. It just makes yourself look bad. There's different reasons why people become Masons. Varied. As long as they have good intentions, you'll go hang around, you'll meet people who are like-minded, and then you'll get a lot of stuff out of it.
Why did you become a Mason?
So, I've been around this building, this whole building, for like 16 years now. About 16 years. I was happened to work as a bar back when I was still underage. 18, I was able to become a bartender. Actually more. I'm 34 right now. And then I worked there. Didn't join Masonry. I worked in the building, worked in the weddings. I worked for Ken Lawton. That's that guy who's a great boss. And I got to know all the Masons. I just didn't think of joining. I was young and I just wasn't mature. You have to be mature. So that's when people want to join. You have to join for the right reasons. You have to join the right mindset. I was too young for too long. And by the time I was 25, I saw people that were having fun here and they were doing charity work. They were doing turkey kinos. And I might have said the story before. And I wanted in on it. They were having so much fun. And then I went up to them and said, "You can't join." I'm like, "What? You have to become a Mason first." And that's when I realized Shriners are Masons. And there's a whole hierarchy, or I should say levels to it. I get through it. And then I joined, and I've been really happy ever since. So people always talk. I'm sorry, should we pause the episode or just keep running?
You can keep talking. This is it's like a slumber party, bro. We'll just watch movies and talk like teenage girls. We'll braid each other's hair,
People always talk about Masonry makes good men better, but they don't always say how. I'm not sure if you talked about people or asked them if Masonry wasn't their life, what would they be missing? Or if they didn't join Masonry, what would they be? I'm not sure. I don't watch all your podcasts. I try to watch a lot of them. Guilty as charged, but I try to watch a lot of them. You should ask them that question. Like, what would they be without Masonry, or how would the life have diverted? So Masonry personally gave me inspiration. I had brothers who supported me, I'd say emotionally, and gave me courage because I saw their life story. And they showed me things I didn't think were
Pretty
possible.
Masonic pictures on the wall there.
Yes,
Got
there's
some collars.
people with aprons. I think they have aprons on too.
Yeah.
Um, yes, that they have collars, aprons. That is a very good nod to Masonry.
That is. Sorry to interrupt. So you had brothers who supported you?
And it really gave me the courage to do better with myself. I ended up, after I was joined Lodge, I was just a bartender still. Uh, I ended up dropping out of university at like a younger age. My parents got sick. And I figured I could do something with myself. I went to college, I graduated, taught my class. I did that for a while. I ended up starting teaching, and I was teaching at St. Clair College for a while. And then I figured I can go further than this. I got my engineering degree. So it's been fast moving. It's been a wonderful journey. I don't think I would have taken the steps required if Masonry was involved. It really showed me the path, and talking to people and the organizational skills. When you are a Mason, you learn how to organize, especially if you get to be in charge of a lodge or in charge of dinner. Being in charge of feeding 40 people, if it's that, you have to prepare for that usually, but it's usually like 20, 30 people. You have to prepare for 40 just in case. You don't want people showing up and you run out of food. It can happen. It's happened to me. I've ordered pizza and ran to go get some Little Caesars last minute, but that has really helped me.
Big shout out across the way to well, now the Circle K was the max for the Windsor Masonic Temple. When I was junior, so junior warden's guy responsible for the food. When I was that, and I know when Igor was at, there was quite a few times you'd send somebody across the street to grab some drinks or some snacks quick if you thought you were going to be running out. More than a few occasions I saw Masons running across the street and back with bags of ice or pop or whatever it is. So yeah, the skills, that only happens a couple times though. You pick up the skills pretty quick.
The other thing is, though, you might be fortunate for your lodge to meet on the same night as another lodge. So my mother lodge, Harmony 579, we meet the same night as Great Western. Great Western, if I ran out of something, they had spares. We'd go back and forth, we'd share. Fellowship was Latin.
Yeah, I remember calling up, who was it? Dave a few times. He did the junior warden, I think, when I was junior warden, and trying to coordinate Omar on a few occasions.
The other thing is, so I'm virtual master of Windsor Lodge 4-3 right now, and they meet the next night. So Harmony's Thursday night, Windsor is the next night. So there's times if Harmony had a little extra food, we'd leave it for Windsor to consume.
I've been known to leave some, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about Masonic Temple. It bothers me when people treat it as like the place you come once or twice a week and then, well, once or twice a month and they never come back. Like, we have bridges up here, we pay dues. So, if you're, just because you're done your night doesn't mean people won't be coming in later. So, leave some food for them in the fridge if you know they're going to be coming by tomorrow and there's a meeting. You can always leave leftovers and they can always take advantage of it. Or swing back around, if you're meeting on a Thursday, but there's a meeting on a Friday as well, come on by, say hello. Even if you can't make it for the meeting, there's been a few times where I had wrestling practice, so I couldn't actually make a meeting I always make my own meetings, but if it's a visiting lodge, I'd still swing by at 10 o'clock, I see the lights were on, I'd come in and say hi, and those were good nights because those were Rose Lodge nights, so I'd always end up eating Brian's food, Brian Batchelder.
This is the worst watch along. We've definitely sidetracked a lot. The plot has gone all over the place.
They're in a car. They're talking. Sean and Lassie.
The flip phone.
Yeah, this brings me back. And very attractive other police officer was on there for a while. She's gone now.
So talking about you come here after hours or whenever you want, we can hang out. There's times where we showed up late at night. I remember the one night when oven was on, we showed up like 11 or 12.
Yes, don't do that. Don't leave the oven on if Mason's watching this. Yeah, we came back from, what was it, Chatham? London?
I think London. I'm not sure.
No, it was. I think it was London. Yeah, it was London because we all met at Paul Rogers' house, and then Paul drove us there, and then he drove back to his place, and then you gave me a ride. Because I live downtown, we just stopped off here.
Shout out, that was a crazy time. So when we drove up to London, I have to give a shout out to Paul Rogers. He was driving, and we're on the 401. It's a 100 kilometers an hour road for those who are in the States or elsewhere. And in front of us, canoes fell off the trailer, and he's like Fast and the Furious stuff. He's like dodge that stuff. I remember, I think it was Bond up front and screamed.
Yeah, Bond.
Fairly feminish.
Bond did scream like a lady.
I remember George McHale there. It was good. Different lodges came up there and just went up to do a second degree. I was asked to do like senior warden stuff, and then the senior warden said, "No, I'm stepping in. I'm doing my stuff because it's my friends." So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, you got an easy night.
Well, I prepared though. Like,
you did.
First time did. Being a backup can be fun, but at the same time, it's like I did work. I sharpened my craft. I know the work, and now I'm going to show up and.
The frustrating thing is you can't show off if you're a backup, right? You prepare, but you don't actually get to show.
For York Rite College, that's one of my buddies. There's a gentleman that he's not always well, so I'm always in backup, and so I've had stuff prepared and ready to go a bunch of times, and so after a while I got kind of lax with it. So I was like, you know what, he's gonna be there, no problem. So it happened a few times in a row, and then one time he showed up and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing it again. Awesome, sit back, relax. Halfway through, he's like, I'm not feeling well. I'm leaving right now. You said you know it, right? And he leaves. And so I was like, all right, time to step up the plate. And then, I pulled up this couple lectures. One was always planned, but the other one was backup, and it went really well. And people were like, Harley, references like, you had that in backup? It's like, you just had that ready to go. I'm like, yeah, you do something enough times to get sharp, and you can bring it up anytime.
It's a skill, It's like anything else. It's the more you do it, the better you get at it. I think a lot of people don't recognize masonry as a skill, but
that's actually a whole other thing I want to talk about. Right now, they're in some of the brothers' warehouse to try to get more clues. That's what's happening in the storyline. But I want to mention about doing the work. So there's controversy or talk about some people want to bring a book to read things in the lodge.
Never do that.
So what I think, because Masonry believe in earning what you get. Like, you put in the work, you get a reward. That's how life should be, or how life should go. So when I was first going through lodge, I wanted to do this piece where I talked for a little while. My memory blanked out, and I had to be like fed word for word. Painful, cringe-worthy night for me. Even Tom Moffat mentions it occasionally. And when I was done on the night, I stood up. I'm like, sorry guys, that was rough, but next time I want to do that. I want to prove myself better. I will take my licks and then go with it and become a better person because of it. So that's why I believe that if you're gonna fuck up, I'm sorry.
You can swear. It's fine. Swear away.
Just do it, and don't try to make it easier for you. If you're not prepared, step out before that night even begins, or let somebody else do it, or go with it and take your licks, become a better person, and learn from it.
I agree. Nothing's wrong with messing up. The problem is when you mess up and don't improve.
Yes. So when I went to university, well, after I went back to university to get my engineering degree, we had a few of my environmental classes, because I have a minor in environmental engineering. We had to do presentations, and they're like, who wants to present? I'm like, I want to present first. I'm like, I want to set a high bar. Everyone looks at me like, you want to do this in front of like various people, and they had like a specialist coming in from board to talk about other stuff, and you want to go up there and talk first? I'm like, yes. And I want everyone to ask me questions, because I'm so confident prepared from what I've learned in masonry, from public speaking. You have, during dinners, I think it was one of the district dinners, you asked me like stand up and talk and just say something, or like one of the things. It just totally caught me off guard.
Probably something I would do.
He just throws me to the wolves, no preparation. So I have to stand up and talk or say a few things, and that's really like cut the edge for me, and I can pretty much get up and talk whenever I need to or want to. So I don't get the jitters for talking beforehand. With this, it's a little more nerve-wracking doing the whole podcast, because it's etched in stone. It's which
It's there forever,
it
buddy.
is.
It's there
It's gonna
forever.
haunt me. You know, this is like.
I've accepted it. It's all out there. It's all out there. It's yeah, I agree.
Oh, Zone 6 is just delivering my, sorry, Zone 6, I ordered some preserves. If you've watched the previous podcast a week ago, I might have mentioned I was getting them. I just got an email. It was delivered, actually a text, I got a text. It was delivered.
Zone 6. Reply and tell them you got it from
It was actually 20 minutes ago. That is actually, I do like that service that they text you or call you when delivery's coming through. It's good to know. Personally, I know Amazon sometimes says that package is delivered. But it's nice personal touch from a local business. I didn't mean to interject on that.
I support. Hey, they were kind enough to deliver a whole bunch of very cool products for us here at the temple. A lot of them are downstairs right now, where the coffee club will start meeting again once we're allowed to meet again.
The coffee club's down to stopped too.
Yeah, everything is kind of stopped. I mean, we're allowed like less than 10 people in here, but Masonic activities have really been suspended. So coffee club's kind of suspended right now. We're not meeting. We wouldn't be meeting in the summer anyways, but our last Masonic meeting I think was March. It was either late February or March, because I remember I was visiting Rose Lodge. Shout out to Rose. And then the very next day is when we got the notice that all lodge meetings are suspended. So that was Rose's OB. I remember that official visit. So I sat in as senior morning, did the opening and closing.
I remember because I had a degree plan for an individual who was just dying. He went from DMLA, he went up, he was ready to go, and so it's one of those things like, yes, next week is your degree, and then like literally less than a week before, you get that, and I was like, oh my god. That weekend though, still my other body's AMD was meeting, my Allied Masonic degrees. They were meeting on a Saturday, so we went for that. But then we also had York Rite College in the afternoon. The guy in charge of York Rite College said, no, we're not meeting. AMD, they didn't really pull the trigger. Each body was in its own, this has its own basically operation for that.
Yeah.
Some said if you can do it in a safe manner, go for it. And if you don't have a lot of members, it's quite right. But some other ones were like, no, we're telling you now.
I mean, I've been trying to pay attention in the States to what's going on. Part of it is because I've got some requests from some viewers of the podcast. Thank you guys so much. To talk about how lodges are coping with the shutdown and with, and not even lodges much, but how temples, especially those temples that rely on public events to bring in revenue, how they're managing during the different phases and social distancing and all that type of stuff. So we're trying to do some research. It's interesting to see how Masonic lodges are coping. Some seem to have come back in the States, where some lodges are meeting again. Some seem to have come back full force. They're wearing masks, but otherwise it seems like their membership, or at least their lodge attendance, has actually increased, which I think might have to do with the fact that you don't know you got till it's gone. When it's taken away from you, suddenly you. This is pretty Masonic. They went into a safe and they found a dues book, keeping track of people paying their dues.
That's accounts though. That's withdrawals and deposits. It is very Masonic. We're organized to keep track of everything. Argue about everything. If you're buying too expensive cheese,
yeah, that's to this day.
I'll haunt you forever, my friend.
Not allowed to buy expensive cheese.
It was Mason cheese, right? That's what it was.
It was the best cheese. The cheese lady was actually on the show. Shout out to the cheese lady. But she does these amazing platters, and
Are they still do it at that sausage place? Is that where it's still done from?
I'm not sure. They're always at the farmer's market. So if you're looking for really nice cheese, farmer's market, downtown Windsor, every Saturday from 8 to 1. I actually got a video about them, which is over there. You click on the link. They're great, and they so I use them a lot. I think one thing that people don't talk about a lot, because we're smaller at Masonry than we used to be, but even at our smaller number, we do have a positive economic impact on our communities, right? We're always purchasing food and refreshments for our meetings. We go out for dinner a lot. We support local restaurants, support local businesses, take advantage of local services. So we're great supporters of local business and local economies, especially in some of those really small towns. Like when the Masonic Lodge meets and they go out for dinner afterwards, that can be the biggest. That can be the most money coming into that restaurant for that month. You know, it's
Well, it definitely helps. It's always good to make sure the reservations are going through. So for my AMD and my York Rite College, we meet on Saturdays. One's in the morning and one's in like early afternoon. So we go to True's restaurant in Chatham. It's right in between. It's a really nice restaurant, and it's another experience on it because my morning group AMD aren't always my York Rite College group because there's certain requirements and not people want to join everything. So I'll have like one group in the morning, then half of them will come out and meet with me, and then sometimes more people show up from London or Richtown, whatever area they're from, and then we go out and then we go do our York Rite College degrees and meetings, and that is my favorite Masonic event is my AMD and York Rite College Saturdays. It's a bit of a drive to get there. Windsor or Chatham. It's not crazy or like that, but it's a nice little drive to see. So, you want to talk about what's happening? Or
I don't even know what's happening. So Sean has broken into, or I guess not broken into. They've sneaked into a pharmaceutical company or a doctor's office, which is owned by one of the members of the lodge at issue, and there's something to do with vaccines.
There was powder on one gentleman's foot when they were hiding in somebody's office with the account book. All they saw was his shoe, and his shoe had some type of powder on it, and they're taking that lead on. They went on other leads earlier that we just kind of skipped over. That turned like most detective or stuff. There's always like a red herring leads you in one direction, but the real direction is somewhere else. It was always apparent before. It's good for that. That's why. It reminds me of, I don't want to say like Scooby-Doo Mysteries, but it's along those lines of
Not
like,
the humorous part, yeah. Gus is trying to flirt with the receptionist and he's failing.
And Sean, using his perception, realizes some of the letters are.
That's pretty much exactly looks like a Masonic account book, what we just saw.
I think that they're just, well, it could be. I haven't seen other account books of other bodies or other fraternities.
They probably all look pretty similar. They can't look that different, you know?
Fair enough. Although I'm sure in this day and age, they use more electronic stuff.
You would think. I guess I do. To be fair, I do most of my notes because I'm the Secretary of Harmony, do my minutes electronically. And now they're off to, I assume, solve the crime.
I think he's about to do the finger pointing. It was like you.
Yeah, I remember I saw this. So I saw this video once.
Yes.
Like
it's been a while though. This was last year before COVID even happened. We were talking about.
I like how all of our lives are like there's pre-COVID and post-COVID. So much of like if you're over, if you're 30 to 40, so much of your life is like pre and post random stuff, you know. Mm-hmm. Pre 9/11, post 9/11, pre 2008 crash, post 2000, pre flip phones. Then you had the flip phones. Then you had post.
You had pre cell phones. I remember pre cell phones.
I remember pre cell phones.
Or like the ridiculous brick ones. I think Tupac had a song where he talked about his mobile phone. It was like.
Well, what was it? Wall Street, right? Infamously had the Gordon Gekko cell phone. So we found out it is the doctor at question. So I guess at this one they have the highmost patriarch, which would be equivalent, I suppose, to worshipful master, or maybe like right worshipful.
Yeah, very good, yeah. It's funny. This is mainly like they're fighting for that top spot, right? Like a lot of times in our lodges, it's like they want to like spread it around, or if you're really good at it, nobody else wants to step up, you might be.
Yeah, it's pretty. There's not a lot of fighting for top spots in Masonic lodges nowadays.
I don't know. I hear it maybe in Toronto area where they have like really large lodges. I don't know. I'm a person I don't hearsay. Comment and say I'm wrong.
Yeah, leave a comment. And by the way, leave a comment on if there's any Masonic pop culture references that you want us to take a look at, let us know. Leave a comment if there's a TV show or a movie or music, or it could be anything that references Masonry in some way, and you want us to review it. Leave a comment down below. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Do all that type of stuff that helps get this out to more people. Go to Zone 6 Gardeners, let them know you got it from us. Chance Coffee.
I didn't mention it.
Damn it, Igor.
I saw Chance Coffee. Actually, Zone 6 has a jam with Chance Coffee in it.
Yes, they do.
I didn't get that one.
I gotta try that because I love coffee.
I think it's a cherry espresso.
Coffee's my favorite thing. Not when you make it. You didn't do a good job this time, Igor. It kind of failed. You tried to make the coffee, but it didn't go so well.
I'll get you instant coffee next time.
I'll take instant.
I know.
I've got you.
You give me instant coffee every time I've been installed in a chair, installed as Worship Master. He's giving me a thank you card, which is very nice, and usually two instant coffee, Starbucks small packages. Usually for coffee for camping most of the time.
That's what you need. I think, to me, if you had like a Worshipful Masters, like survival guide, what you need, in my opinion, is coffee. You need lots of coffee. You need a pen and paper, and you need gum.
That's a good book idea, though. To do like a Worshipful Master survival guide. Only Mason would get the references.
You get it. I think gum is important. Here's why. People don't take this into account. If you are, so in Masonry we do something called obligation. We do different things where you're talking close to somebody. And if your breath stinks and you're right up close to them, it's not cool for the other guy. So I always used to have gum.
I'd say mints because you don't be chewing gum the whole time.
Mints. Something to, you want to chew the gum and then get rid of it before lodge starts.
Our lodges have mints usually right before everyone.
Something so that your breath doesn't stink. If you're like me and you drink nothing but coffee and eat nothing but junk food.
That's why I'm this far away. We're not even that close. Like, I'm edging out outside.
His hair is getting grayer and grayer.
And it is.
Breathe in his direction.
That's irrelevant. That's from after he became Worship Master.
That's true. Started smoking after he became Worshipful Master.
I quit after.
You're better than me.
No, I can't.
I guess one of us has to.
Yeah, I'm passing off to you. You know, like I'm tired of this.
At any given point. So we're at the end of the episode, just about. I think that they're.
Yes, they're wrapping up.
We'll have to try one of these live one day, see how it goes.
He's putting the portraits of him and his dad, Sean, on the wall that they have in the lodge building.
Got a pretty cool portrait. I wish ours were better. They look like that. It looks like he's, well, I guess it's his age, right? It looks like he's rocking out like the 70s or 80s.
That's what I said earlier. You're going something like you look like 70s. That collar was ridiculous.
That's how it should be.
I need extra collar. You can get extensions on this.
And there we go.
So, what do you think about the episode?
I like it. I like Psych. I thought it was pretty accurate in terms of some of the details, right? Obviously, it's not meant to be a Masonic lodge per se, it's just any fraternal order. But any fraternity is going to have similarities, and this one certainly has some similarities to the day-to-day. Just like I said, the account book looks so similar to what you see in Masonic accounts, and you saw aprons. So yeah, very cool. I just like the show. I think it's a great show. People of Psych, what are they? James Roday, Dule Hill, who else is? I don't remember the other names. Actors of the show, if you see this, for some reason,
there are a bunch of people that come by.
Please comment, say thank you. Maggie Lawson, right? She's
it says Tim Curry, Gina Gershon.
Well, Tim Curry was the guest.
These are guests. It doesn't really show that the main people. If we would have watched the intro.
Okay, well here, we'll do it again. Here we go.
That's deleted scenes. You gotta move up. Okay. There's deleted scenes. There's commentary on the DVDs, even the Simpsons we did last week, or in the time frame.
Time is relative. Whoa. How could it be a week for them and only 5 minutes?
Also had commentary. I haven't seen Psych's commentary, but I did watch the Simpsons commentary, and the guy Hadley No Masonic connections.
Okay, Dule Hill, Timothy Ombudsman, Maggie Lawson, Kristen Nelson, and Corbin Benson. I don't know why you'd watch this, but if you are, please leave a comment saying how great his watch along was.
You learned so much about the episode from us. That's the main point.
I guess they could. Can you do the thing on Twitter where you like at them or whatever it is?
Dude, this is your job. You're asking the wrong guy.
I'm gonna at all of you. That's an ominous. I will.
Yes.
I will. Is that where that comes from? Like, you know the expression "don't come at me"? Could that be like because to Twitter when you want to tag some of your posts.
I think that's more like to a bear back then.
To a bear?
Like someone's coming at you, come at me, or like someone's charging at you.
I guess, but now it's always on the internet. So people will be like on Twitter, like, "Hey, at John Smith, you suck" or something. Like,
don't at me.
Well, I'm gonna at all of those celebrities, and it's gonna go great. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll be back next week.
Thank you for having me.
Hit the like and subscribe button, and everybody, be cool, be safe.